Hi, this is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Janet. I always have something interesting to show you, something interesting to say, so I'm really happy that you're tuning in to watch these podcasts, and I'm happy that you share them with your family, your friends, your neighbors, and anybody else who's interested in good, nutritious cooking that's healthy and tasty and wonderful to prepare and filled with all kinds of wonderful love and emotions that you put into it when you make whatever it is that you're doing. So this is not your ordinary diet type of podcast, because anytime you diet, you want to remember diet means to do without, less than, to cut out things, unhealthy, blah blah. You know, you don't like to diet, most people don't, but it's fun to eat healthy. When you eat healthy, it means you're nurturing your mind, because the food you put in your body is representative of what's going in your mind. So I enjoy cooking, I enjoy eating healthy, and I enjoy the simplicity of eating healthy and showing you how to do it in the kitchen of your very own home. However many people you are, whether you're one person or whether you're cooking for a crowd, I try and do my best to tell you how to adjust these recipes that will work for everybody. And I use ingredients that are simple to acquire. I try to use basically the same things from my cupboard, so that it's not something you have to go out and buy, or if you don't have it and you do have to buy it, you can use it multiple times. You don't just get one ingredient and then it sits there for 2 years. So anyway, I'm happy that you're here with me. And what I want to talk to you about to start with is a couple of different interesting things. For those of you who follow me on my December's daily discard, you will recall, I hope, that in the beginning I found some turkey carcasses and chicken carcasses that I had stuffed in my freezer over the summer, because I like to have them to make my own soup stock in the wintertime. And so I pulled them out while Stewart was gone, and I cooked up a big pot of stock with the bones, and I've shown you in other podcasts how to do that yourself. Well, the interesting thing was, I cleaned off the bones, I gave the extra meat to the dogs, I packaged my broth and put it in the freezer. Well, a couple of weeks ago, if you recall, or maybe not even that long ago, I went into another part of my freezer and I found 2 more turkey carcasses. So this was after Christmas, because I had 2 more turkey carcasses, and then I found a third, and then I had one left over from Christmas dinner. So I have 4 more turkey carcasses. I made more turkey stock, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So here, boiling away, is some of the turkey stock that I made from the second batch of bones that I had. And you want to remember that bones represent the support structure, and, you know, picking, do I have a bone to pick with you, that kind of thing. So I obviously had more meat of whatever experiences they represented to pull from it, and I had to go inside and take a look at that. Why am I holding on to all these bones? What kind of bones do I still have to pick, and what kind of meat is left on there, or experience is still left on there that I need to assimilate? So all of that goes into whatever it is I do 24/7. And those of you who are who did the daily discard with me are beginning to understand that, how to incorporate your hyperspace oversoul learning 24/7. So it truly does become experiential. You are teaching yourself, and that's an amazing, amazing gift to give to you over the holiday season. So I'm very proud of you, for those of you who did that and accomplished things and actually saw tangible results. So that was amazing. And because of that, I'm continuing with my January jumpstart. And so that's a little bit what we're going to go into today. And jumpstarting yourself in January may be still discarding things. Not all of you are done. I still have a few pockets around the home, and I'm already doing other things as well. So you want to join me in my January jumpstart blog, because that's where I'm going to continue to help you personally when you write in your comments, as well as share with you what I am doing, and we both support each other. So if you don't have a membership, I will invite you right now to go to the Violet membership section. It's only $7 a month. Support us, we support you, and it's amazing what you can accomplish. So now back to cooking. Here we are with the turkey stock, which now you know the history of it, so it's meaningful to me. It means something. When I did the turkey stock, you can see how it's boiling. As it boils, the water evaporates out, but the richness and the minerals and everything you need is still in the stock. So when you put it in your freezer, you can boil it down and still retain what you need for your stock, so it doesn't take up quite so much freezer space. And what I do then is I will add a little bit more water to it, because the turkey stock itself is still very rich, and I'll add whatever I need to continue to make it I will add what I need so that I have the depth of water that I need. And of course I use the steam distilled. You want to remember that. Now to this turkey stock, I am adding some ham bones because we had some ham slices over the holiday. So it's full of marrow. It's got lots of good things in there, and that's just going to go right into my stock. And I'm going to let that sit. And I have some pieces that, as you can see, we have quite a bit left. So I'm going to cut this up into some chunks and put that in as well. This particular piece is nice and not too full of fat, but I will also cut up the other as well. And here's a nice piece. So anyway, here's my knife. So I'm just going to cut that up into chunks, and that will stay. But I will also put in the fat slices because it's also very flavorful. And I don't want to waste anything. That's the one thing about me. No matter what experience I have, I like to glean as much as I can from it so I don't have to repeat it. I want to do it once, I want to do it well, and I don't want to have to repeat it. And that's exactly what I tell my children. I said, do it one time, do it well, and then I don't have to tell you to do it again. That's how I live my life, as best as I can. So, I did put this in the freezer, but still a little bit frozen. I'm going to turn it into some chunks. I'm going to put it in to my turkey soup. And this is nitrate free. I want to remember that I am very fortunate. I have a local source, and they raise their own meat. I know what goes into it. I know where it's raised. It's not certified organic, but it's not full of things that we don't want our food to be full of. So I'll make some chunks. Now the other thing, which I want to show you later on, not today, but in another podcast, that when you want to cut your meat up, for instance chicken and steak, you want to make nice even slices, you want to have your meat partially frozen. And as long as it's partially frozen, it's very easy to cut into thin strips if you want to make chicken tenders, or if you want to make something with strips of steak. Sirloin steak is really good for doing that. And you want to have it be partially frozen. Now, I did have somebody send me a knife for a Christmas gift, or holiday gift. One of people who watch this podcast, which I want to thank you for. As I'm cutting this, she said, I'm tired of watching you use those little knives. I'm pretty good with a steak knife, believe it or not. I use it for most things I do, so I'm going to have to get used to the new knife. And I didn't want to get used to it in front of you because I don't want to lose a finger or something in between and have you watch me do it. Alright, so I've got the ham in with my turkey stock. I also have already chopped off one organic onion. If you want to speed the process along, then you can always saute your onion ahead of time. And then I also have a whole bulb of garlic here, which if you want to remember, everything is pre-soaked in my hydrogen peroxide water. And I put them in whole because I'm going to simmer my soup, and they'll disintegrate all on their own, so I don't have to do anything to it. Next, I made garbanzo beans for you the last time for hummus. That's going to go in. And I also have some greens which I've pre-chopped. These are organic mustard greens that I got from Cindy. I just wanted to show you what it looks like before it's chopped. And this is some organic kale. And I've just chopped that up. This is the kale. And of course that's going to cook down in the soup, so it looks like a lot, but you'll be amazed that there won't be a whole lot left above the water when we're done. And that's going to add some water to the soup as well. There go my mustard greens. Okay, and then I'm going to stir that just to make sure it goes down. And I'm probably going to add a little bit more water because remember I have very rich stock in there to start with. So, and it will cook down more, and the greens again will put more liquid into my stock. And remember, there is no right or wrong. You know, basically what I have here is I have broth. If you don't make your own, you can get it in a box that's vacuum packed organic. You can get your beans from a can. It's always better to do it by yourself or from scratch, but as you know, sometimes I always have cans of beans on hand because sometimes I'm in a hurry, and that's the fastest way to do it. If you make a large pot of dried beans, such as I did the garbanzos, you can freeze those in portions and then use them as you need them. So that's always an option as well. So you have lots of options. Use your creativity, use your imagination, and do what's simple and easy for you. If it's stressful, don't do it. That's going to go into your cooking. That's what you're going to eat. That represents your mind pattern in the outer world. And so, let's not go with stress if we can avoid it. I also have some red pepper flakes. As you know, we like things spicy. So I'm going to put in a handful. Again, these are organic from Cindy, which I'm always grateful for. And you can season your soup any way that you like. This is the way that we like. I'd like to put in just a little bit of hot sauce, doesn't matter what brand. And it just gives it a little bit of a kick. And if you don't tell people, most people aren't going to know it. I'm just about at my pepper in my shaker, but organic black pepper, maybe about a teaspoon, maybe a little less. My organic sea salt. I'll put in maybe a little bit of that. I usually like to let people season with their own salt because people like different amounts. And I want you to remember that salts are minerals and they're important for you. So you do need to have salt in your diet, not the crappy stuff that you get off the shelf, not the Heinz brand that they get out of the Bay of San Francisco, but you need high quality sea salt that is full and rich of minerals. In fact, I even take an extra quarter teaspoon every day in warm water just because I want to be sure I get my mineral content in. This is some organic garlic. Even though I've put in the whole, I'm going to add a little bit more because in my household, cannot have enough garlic. And here's some more black pepper. This is the way that I buy it. I'm going to have to fill my pepper shaker here soon with some more. And that's really all I'm going to put in this soup. And I'm just going to let it simmer for a while. And eventually I'll pull the extra meat off. I'll let all the vegetables get tender. You can put other things in, and I was thinking about this. I have some organic turnips. I may put a few in there just to give it a little something else. Organic celery is good in it. Again, use your imagination, whatever you like. But I kind of like that combination of the ham and the turkey broth, along with the garbanzo beans and the dark leafy greens. If you cannot find a nice source of organic ham, because you don't, or nitrate-free at least, look for some nitrate-free bacon. You can also put that in there instead. That will give you a really nice flavor. And, it's winter time here in Michigan, so the soups are really nice. It's also very cleansing for your body. That's one thing that we're going to be discussing in our January Jumpstart about taking care of your body. A lot of times during the holidays, people get busy, and the body is kind of the last thing that where we look, although those of you who did the December discard, I think, are beginning to understand more what I'm talking about. And it becomes a natural thing. Technically this is a diet food. If you want to use that word diet, I don't like the word diet because, again, it connotates in your mind. I have to do without. It's not good. It's not tasty, blah, blah. You don't want that. You want to have food that you enjoy. Otherwise, your body is not going to respond. It's not going to absorb the wonderful nutrients that are available. So no dieting. Just healthy eating, and you eat healthy because you're putting things in your mind that are healthy. Now, on that note, I want to show you something else that's also very interesting. Move this aside and pull up the next thing. A lot of times I have recipes that I show you, and I thought about it, but this is important. And I thought it was best to demonstrate it to you. So, what I'm going to show you today, after the soup, is I'm going to talk to you about parasite cleansing. Because parasites are present in most people, and most people have them to excess. And some people have tumors, fibroid, non-malignant or malignant tumors that are growing in their body as a representation of what's going on in their minds. And I came across this recipe, and I've heard about it for quite some time, and I actually started it myself about the middle of December because I wanted to try it. I always try everything first before I give it to you, or if I haven't tried it, I at least tell you. And so I'm not all the way through it, but I'm working with it, and I'm finding it interesting. And because most people have parasites of some kind, and for many people it's out of control, that's why you have sugar cravings, because the parasites are eating all the sugar that you put into your body. Remember what I told you, the carbohydrates turn into sugar as well. And so as you're dumping everything in, you're feeding the parasites, but not necessarily getting your own cellular structure nourished. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of the parasites, and you will find that your sugar cravings decrease, and also you're going to be getting rid of parasitic experiences in your life, and you are also going to be finding a new level of sweetness. So everything is going to balance out, and again, that's what I'm going to be talking to you about more and more in the January Jumpstart. And I also have other parasite things I'm going to talk to you about, but today I'm going to focus on this specific recipe. This recipe calls for 1 cup of pure maple syrup. Now, not the imitation kind. Don't go buy Mrs. Butterworth's, because that's not going to work. It's corn syrup and all kinds of crap you don't want in your body. So it's pure maple syrup, 1 cup. And that goes in your pot. And I have my jug out here because I always remind you that I do buy in large quantities, because that's the most efficient use of your dollar. And also I rotate. So every month I don't buy a whole bunch of cartons of everything. I will buy 1 month maple syrup, 1 month I'll buy a case of mayonnaise, 1 month I'll buy a case of ketchup, and so forth. And then I have it throughout the year when I need it, because these are kind of staples in my pantry. So this is a jug. If you don't have space, after you use down so far, you can put it in smaller jugs. It does need to be refrigerated. It is more expensive to buy it initially, but over the long run, it's certainly much cheaper. So this recipe is 1 cup of maple syrup. You may have heard of this before. If you haven't tried it, I am finding it very interesting. Let me put it that way, and I'll discuss it as we go. This is 1/3 cup of aluminum-free baking soda, and that goes in here. Now, you want to be sure and use enough, have a big enough pot that it holds everything, because it's going to boil and foam. And as it boils and foams, if you have a small pot, it could go up over the top and create a big mess, and so you don't want to do that. Now, you might think baking soda and maple syrup, that's going to be delicious. Well, I can tell you it's not. It's actually disgusting. But the point is, when you boil this, we're going to simmer it. We're going to cook it until it comes to a simmer, and then we're going to simmer it for about 5 minutes. When that's done, you put it in a jar. I happen to choose a jar without a lid, but this is what I've been working through in December. This is all I have left. Kind of thick and disgusting, you can see. Okay, when I'm done with this, it'll go back in this jar too. So what you'll want to do after you have it is, if you just do it, say for maintenance, the recommendation is 1 teaspoon per day. If you have a chronic condition of any kind, then you take 2 teaspoons a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and regardless of when you take it about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes away from food, because you want this in an empty stomach. If you have parasites, which again most people do, the parasites will come out after the maple syrup. And as they come for the maple syrup, the baking soda will neutralize the parasites. Baking soda is a wonderful method for alkalining the body. I know that there are all kinds of products out there, but the cheapest, most efficient is aluminum-free baking soda. You cannot take too much, and except if you over-alkaline your body. That is possible. So if you have those little alkaline strips that you get a little strip and you pee on it, that will tell you the alkalinity of your system. You do not want to have your body too alkaline when you eat, because your stomach needs to be acidic in order to actually digest your food. Now you can see how this is foaming. Okay, and if you let this foam without attending to it, it can go up over the sides. I like these flat kind of utensils because it goes flat along the bottom of my pot and keeps it from burning. It is sugar and it will burn. So I'm going to set my timer here for 5 minutes because I'm going to simmer it for 5 minutes. And you have to keep stirring. I'm going to turn my heat down now. You have to keep stirring along the bottom or it will burn, and you do not want to waste a cup of pure maple syrup. You see how it's foaming, and that will foam the whole time. I've only made this once before, and I thought maybe the foam would go down. It does not. So be prepared for foam, but you can see how it's rising. That's why you want to have a big enough pot. And it's hot. If you get it on your skin, it will burn you. So anyway, back to the baking soda. The baking soda will alkaline your body. So if you have an issue with anything in your body, any chronic type of condition, then you are going to want to drink some baking soda. You can do that just in water. You can add a little bit of vanilla to it. You can add a little bit of stevia to it, however it is that you need to get it down. And I've already told you, you can add that to your bath water. It's also very good for you that way as well. So baking soda has a lot of uses to it, which is cheaper than a lot of other products, but it depends on what you want to do. Most people do have an over-acidic body, and that's done purposefully because that keeps you in a state of dis-ease. And what we want to do is we want to get you back, oops, out over the side, we want to get you back into the state of health. And those of you who have read my Decoding Your Life book, you understand that I've written in there about reversing the aging process. And a lot of the aging process, if not all, is deterioration. It is degeneration of the body. I expect myself to get better every year. I don't expect myself to deteriorate. I expect everything within me to step up to the plate, to release the cells that have the negative experiences that tear my body down. And it's interesting, in the January discard, or January jumpstart that we're working on, I was writing about it and I put, I failed to recognize. And when I realized I failed to recognize, what I failed to recognize is, my words were, I failed, I failed, I failed. So one of the jump starts I'm doing for January is I'm eliminating that particular phrase out of my vocabulary. I no longer fail to recognize anything. I understand it. I have awareness now of the words that I'm using and that I'm putting out there. Somebody else wrote in that he or she was going to stop using the phrase, I hate. I hate to do this, I hate to do that, because they hate. And I said, you know what, if you're using that phrase, then that means somewhere inside of yourself, you hate some part of yourself. Put that phrase at the pineal gland and see what it is that you hate about you. And when you find that, you can release it and you can move on. So there are many phrases, many words, many ways that we set the energy up to deteriorate the body, which causes the physical aging, which causes us to deteriorate and degenerate into something we don't want to be. And as I've told you before, when they talk about somebody who's 100 or whatever, they show these little teetering, tottering old people out there with no teeth and can't hear, and they're just all crippled over. You don't want to be that way. You don't have to be that way if you allow yourself to release what you're carrying now. So that's part of what's going on in our January Jumpstart, is we are talking about these kind of issues that pull us down instead of elevate and enhance. And in January, we are working on making ourselves better by releasing what we no longer need. So most people are in parasitic type of relationships with themselves, with people, places, and things. And I was thinking about this in December as I was working on my parasite cleanses, because I've done a lot of them, as some of you may or may not know. And I've done a variety of things in a variety of ways, and I've gotten rid of a lot of my parasites. But I was thinking about how the Illuminati itself is parasitic, the global handlers, basically. You are out there working your little butt off, and they're taking your tax money, and they're doing all kinds of things with it that you're not. And even I talked to you about The Lover of Things, if you read that e-newsletter, about how that the Pope was talking about the materialism of Christmas. And of course, he's standing there in a very ornate headdress and his solid gold cross and everything else. So yes, it's materialistic to you according to him, but what about what he's doing and what he's perpetuating? These are parasitic people. So our whole society is governed by parasitic people. And when I thought about that, I thought, you know what, it makes sense that the population, oops, there's my timer already, wow, that 5 minutes went fast. The whole population is really full of parasites because they're representing what's inside of you is being represented on the outer. And what's on the outer, of course, is being held in physically with what's going on with you inside of yourself. So if you're joining me on the January discard, I'm going to be continuing this line of thought because I want you to understand and to find out for yourself what is parasitic within your life, and you may be surprised at what you find. But this is a start so that you can start pulling them out. Now I'm going to put this in here, but I'm going to let it cool a little bit because I don't accidentally put on myself. But I just want to remind you that if you're just, think you're pretty healthy, but I'm going to, you take 1 teaspoon a day, 20 to 30 minutes away from food. I'm going to recommend that you do as I do, which is a chronic condition. Not that I necessarily know that I have anything, but I'm going to work with it anyway, is 2 teaspoons. 1 teaspoon in the morning when I get up, and 1 teaspoon before I go to bed, 20 to 30 minutes away from food. And as I said, it is disgusting, although it doesn't look like it because you think maple syrup. So I take a teaspoon and I wash it down with water. If you have a severe issue, then they recommend that you take it 3 teaspoons a day. Once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, and once at the end of the day, again 20 to 30 minutes away from food. Now this is supposed to pull tumors. If you have a cancerous condition, and a lot of times people have things they don't know that they have. And I will tell you, interestingly enough, that I got this recipe from the woman who does my colonics, and she was telling me that people who do this particular cleanse, that what she sees come out in the colonic hose is amazing. They see tumors, they see things that look like spiders that come out in these clear hoses. So you want to think about what you might have inside of you that you don't even know about. And if it's in your mind, there's a chance that something like this is going on in your body and you want to stop it. You can look it up on the internet if you want. There are testimonials to this, maple syrup, baking soda. You can look that up if you want. But I wanted you to see how it was done so that you can do it yourself. And it's interesting. So that's what I like to do. I like to show you things that are interesting and that are easy and that make you feel better and healthier and fit into what you're already doing. If you don't have the maple syrup and you have baking soda, non-aluminum, remember, look for that, the aluminum-free, you can also just work with a few teaspoons of baking soda from time to time. And the more consistent you are, the better. Remember, on an empty stomach, the parasites come out to feed on the maple syrup. The baking soda helps neutralize them. And then watch what comes out the back door. You know, a lot of people say, I don't want to look at that. Well, you know what? That's where you were. That's what is comprised of you. That's what you're releasing. Let it go. Look at all parts of yourself. And as you do, remember that also has frequency, that has energy. Ask that your oversoul bless and release from the waste what is you, your own energy, and that goes back to your oversoul, and that flow of energy comes back to you. So there's all different things that you can do. I hope that you are a member of the site. Free, if you can't do more than that, $7 per month, Violet membership, gets you into January Jumpstart and all my personal affirmations, and allows you to take part in these exercises that we're doing as a group. And of course it moves up to other levels, which we have things that we're still building into the silver and the gold membership. So all those things are wonderful, wonderful opportunities for you and for us to share with you on a whole new and different way. So we definitely appreciate your financial support of expansions.com and the expansions.com team, because it does take us money to run our website and to take care of the people who help support us. So as we support you, we appreciate, when you can, your support of us. So thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and read January Jumpstart, because it's going to be fun. And I've already got new things to put on there today. I haven't had a chance to write it up yet, but that's going to go out there. And Stewart as well has fabulous articles, which he's in the process of getting ready to go up in the membership section. That's for those of you who want more. We always have lots of free stuff. If you can't do it. But remember, you don't want to always be taking without an energy exchange. So even if your energy exchange is taking the free information and doing something, we want you to progress. If you can't do the Violet membership, do the free and work up to the Violet. And once you can do Violet, work up to the Silver. It's all a statement of prosperity consciousness for you, for us, for all the readers out there. The more that we help each other, the more we all grow. So thank you again for joining me, Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow, expansions.com, and I look forward to continually sharing with you as the year 2012 progresses.